Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. My name is Patrick. I am a husband, I'm a dad, and along with being a worship pastor at a church in New York City, I own my own tech company. And on this channel, we tend to talk about gear, review gear, and I simply share my life with you. And today, we are talking about Apple's event happening in just a few days that they have titled, for some reason, Unleashed. Let's get into it. So if you didn't know already, throughout the year, Apple holds these special events. Now, surrounding these events is a ton of secrecy. No one truly knows what's going to be announced, what's going to be talked about, what's going to even be released. But the rumor mill starts buzzing every time one of these events is announced. And coming up on the 18th of October, one of these special events is happening, and we're pretty sure that Apple's going to announce some pretty big stuff. Now, before I get into what I'm excited about, let me just talk about some of the things that you may or may not have heard about what's being talked about. Now, Apple just held an event where they announced the iPhone 13, and along with that announcement, a lot of people were expecting them to release the third generation of AirPods. Now, it's not for sure. Again, no one knows for sure what's going to be talked about, announced, released on the 18th, coming up in just a few days, but some people are speculating that maybe this will be just kind of like a little feather in our cap, a little surprise. The new AirPods, the third generation of AirPods, will be released. Now, truly, this isn't very exciting for me. I'm not quite an AirPods fan yet. I don't hate them, but they're just not for me. But for the AirPod lovers in the world, you guys will be thrilled if the third generation of AirPods is announced or even released at this special event. So be on the lookout for that if you're a huge AirPods fan. Now, when Apple held this iPhone 13 event just a little while back, they not only released the iPhone 13 and some new iPads, but they released operating systems, software to go along with that hardware to make it run smoothly. So along with the iPhone 13, they released iOS 15. And along with the new iPad, they released the new iPad OS 15. So when Apple releases great hardware, they also release great software. We're going to get to hardware in a minute, but it's suspected that Apple will be releasing their new operating system for the Macs, Mac OS Monterey. Now, I don't know a thing about this, but what Apple tends to do is when they release new hardware, like I said, they release new software to go along with it, with new features, new things that some users just go, okay, great, it's another Apple operating system that's going to run smoothly with their hardware. But a lot of people get really into these new features. So I would be on the lookout for Mac OS Monterey and see if there's any features that really speak to you. It's rumored that they're going to release Mac OS Monterey in just a few days to go along with, you guessed it, new Macs. Now, here is where things get really exciting for me. Apple is rumored to be releasing, finally, new MacBook Pros. Now, I'm really excited about this, and let's just kind of go through some basics. Well, a MacBook Pro used to be called a PowerBook, and between the PowerBook and the MacBook Pro, let's just talk about the size. They have gone from 12 inches, we're talking screen size, all the way up to 17 inches in the past. And it's rumored that Apple is going to now have a 14-inch and a 16-inch MacBook Pro. Now, along with these larger displays, you're not just talking about real estate, but these larger displays are going to be a higher resolution, which is really exciting. Anytime a screen looks better, we're happier. It's better for our eyes, it's better for images, it's better for editing videos, which is important to me, better for editing photos, or even just watching something on your laptop that you want to look good. And they're making the displays, it's rumored that they're making the displays not only larger, but a better resolution. As a matter of fact, they're making it have a 2 times Retina resolution, which means that these things are just going to have a great image on the screen consistently, and that's really exciting for anybody. So along with larger displays, we're going to see a really high capacity for RAM inside of these new MacBook Pros.
They're in the computer?
What on earth is RAM? RAM stands for Random Access Memory. And things get really confusing when you work with computers and people are talking about, I need new memory. You always have to ask, are you talking about memory, like RAM, or are you talking about storage? You see, RAM on a computer, if you're relating it to kind of like a human body, RAM is like muscle. When your computer computer does activities like opening apps, editing photos, even browsing websites, it is accessing that RAM, that memory to perform the tasks you need to do. So having a higher capacity of RAM means there's more muscle to go around for these applications to pull from to perform their tasks well. So having a high capacity of RAM is going to be expensive to upgrade, but it's going to make your computer function faster, and that is something everybody can be happy with. You're also going to see Apple include its new M1 processor inside the MacBook Pro. Now, why is this important? Well, for a long time, Apple was purchasing processors from other companies, but now they're making their own processors in-house. That means they are developing a processor that is made to work with the applications that you download, purchase, acquire, and that come built into your Mac. So what we're seeing now is that even fairly recently purchased MacBook Pros are being outperformed by the most basic Mac Mini because this Mac Mini has already been given this M1 chip that was created by Apple. They've also put it on the MacBook Air, they put it in the iMac, and they put it in a 13-inch MacBook Pro. But these larger size MacBook Pros, these professional machines that people are walking around with and editing video and editing photos, they do not have this processor that's been made by Apple, this M1 chip. And furthermore, not only are they going to add it to these MacBook Pros, it's rumored, they're going to add a new version of it. Now, I see this as highly likely because wouldn't it be great if the Pro machines had this M1X chip or M1 Plus chip or something inside of it, and then the M1 chip, the standard version of it, is in the Mac Mini, in the MacBook Air, in the iMac. That's where it belongs. But a newer, more bulky version built into these MacBook Pros, I could see that as something that's very likely because it's going to perform at a higher level, hence the name MacBook Pro. I'm very excited about this. This is going to be a big win for a lot of people that have been holding out, waiting for that chip to be added to a MacBook Pro that they can purchase. So along with these screen and muscle upgrades, processing and RAM, we're going to see some basic upgrades that disappeared a while ago from the MacBook Pro and are making a comeback, and I'm really excited. Number one, when you buy a Mac, you have to get a dongle with it. I should say when you buy a MacBook Pro or a MacBook Air, you have to buy a dongle to go with it if you want to connect HDMI or USB-A or an SD card to your computer. Now these dongles break and they get lost, and it's really frustrating. So they are rumored to be adding back to the machine an SD card slot, as well as an HDMI port. I could not be happier. I am very, very thrilled. But along with those two ports being added back to the Mac, they used to be on the old Macs, not anymore. Now it's just USB-C, but along with adding those back to the Mac, the rumor is they're bringing back MagSafe. When MagSafe disappeared, everyone lost their minds. Your computer power adapter used to be magnetized for the MacBook Air, the MacBook, for the MacBook Pro. You'd plug it into your computer, it would charge quickly, it would charge efficiently, and if someone stepped on your cable, it would just pop right out because it's being connected by a magnet. Now, everything charges through USB-C. So if you step on that cable, you are pulling your computer off of a table or you are ripping it out of your machine, and it's just not a good design. Did it charge well? Yes. But accidents happen, and the MagSafe power adapter saved so many people from having to take a visit to the Genius Bar. So it's rumored that not only is an HDMI port coming back, not only is an SD card slot coming back, but MagSafe is coming back, and I could not be more thrilled. So along with Apple bringing some things back to the MacBook Pro, the HDMI port, the SD card slot, the MagSafe adapter, it's rumored that they're taking some things off the MacBook Pro that pretty much everybody hates. Apparently, the touch bar is no more. Now, when I purchased my current MacBook Pro that I'm using right now, right under this desk, the touch bar was a feature that I was kind of like, hey, let's see how this goes. I'm excited to try it out. And for the first little while, I was like, this isn't so bad. But when you're in a rush, when you're using your computer every single day, that touch bar becomes extremely annoying. Not only is the touch bar just kind of finicky and not a good feature for a laptop, it also removed every single function key from the MacBook Pro. I think the touch bar was a gimmick. Plenty of people complained, and Apple said, you're right. So it's rumored that they are removing the touch bar and replacing it with function keys, the same function keys that you would find on any computer out there. Brightness, volume, display settings, all of your F1, F2, F3 keys, all of those are apparently coming back to the MacBook Pro. So along with MagSafe, HDMI, SD card slot, function keys, I mean, this is going to be such a functional computer that's also professional, considering they've upgraded the resolution. They're putting that M1, maybe M1X chip into it and giving you a really high capacity for RAM. I'm loving every single thing I'm hearing rumored about this new machine. So those are my takeaways. Those are the features that I've heard about that I'm most excited about. But let me know down in the comments, what's something you want to see on the MacBook Pro? Or what's something you'd be fine getting rid of from the MacBook Pro? Kind of like me and the touch bar. Let me know down in the comments. And then do all the other YouTube things, like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share this video with anybody that you think might need a new computer. And I'll see you in the next one.